In the opulent halls of a sprawling mansion overlooking the glittering skyline of New York City, where crystal chandeliers cast shadows like fractured dreams, a billionaire named Alexander Thorne stood before a lineup of the world's most stunning models, each one a vision of perfected beauty, draped in designer gowns that whispered of luxury and allure. His heart, scarred by the untimely death of his beloved wife 5 years earlier, had finally thawed enough to consider remarriage, not for passion, but for the sake of his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who wandered the echoing rooms like a lost soul in need of a mother's warmth. With a commanding voice that had built empires from nothing, Alexander announced his unconventional plan. He would let Lily choose her new mother from among these ethereal women, believing that youth and glamour would fill the void in their lives. But as the little girl, with her wide eyes and tangled curls, scanned the row of poised figures, her gaze drifted past them all, landing instead on the quiet woman in the corner, scrubbing the marble floors with calloused hands, Aisha, the black maid who had been with the family since Lily's birth, her skin glowing like polished ebony under the harsh lights, her uniform faded from years of unseen labor. In that moment, the room froze, the model's smiles faltering like wilting flowers, as Lily pointed a tiny finger and declared her choice, shattering the billionaire's world and igniting a story of unexpected love, prejudice, and redemption that would challenge everything he thought he knew about family. If you believe in the power of kindness and second chances, hit that like button, drop a comment sharing your thoughts, share this video with someone who needs a reminder of true compassion, and don't forget to subscribe to Kindness Speaks for more heartfelt stories that touch the soul. Alexander Thorne had risen from humble beginnings in a dusty Midwestern town, where his parents scraped by on factory wages, to become one of the wealthiest men in America through sheer grit and a series of tech innovations that revolutionized the way the world connected online. His marriage to Elena, a vibrant artist he met in college, had been the anchor in his stormy ascent, grounding him with her laughter and creativity until cancer stole her away when Lily was just 3. In the aftermath, Alexander buried his grief in boardrooms and acquisitions, leaving the day-to-day care of his daughter to Aisha Johnson, a 32-year-old woman who had emigrated from Nigeria a decade earlier, fleeing political unrest and seeking a better life for her younger siblings back home. Aisha was more than a maid. She was the invisible thread holding the household together, waking before dawn to prepare breakfast, soothing Lily's nightmares with lullabies from her homeland, and tending to the mansion's endless needs with a quiet dignity that masked her own buried sorrows. She had lost her own parents young, raised her siblings on meager earnings, and arrived in America with dreams of becoming a teacher, but visa restrictions and financial desperation had funneled her into domestic work. Alexander barely noticed her beyond polite nods, viewing her as efficient staff, while Lily saw her as the sun in her sky, the one who braided her hair with gentle fingers and told stories of African savannas under starry nights. The day of that selection, as Alexander had dubbed it in his mind, was meant to be a triumphant step forward, a way to reclaim stability for his fractured family. He had invited 10 top models, sourced through his elite connections, women with porcelain skin, cascading hair, and resumes that included runway shows in Paris and Milan. They stood in the grand salon, perfumes mingling like a floral symphony, chatting lightly about their travels and ambitions, while Alexander paced, his tailored suit accentuating his tall, imposing frame. Lily entered the room hesitantly, clutching a worn teddy bear that Aisha had mended countless times, her small face pale against the extravagance surrounding her. Alexander knelt before her, his voice softening as he explained the game. Pick the one who makes you feel safe, like Mommy did. The models smiled encouragingly, some bending down to her level with practiced charm, offering compliments on her dress or promises of adventures. But Lily's eyes kept wandering to the doorway, where Aisha lingered, polishing a silver vase, her dark curls tied back in a simple scarf, her expression one of quiet observation. When the moment came, Lily's choice was swift and unwavering, her voice a whisper that echoed like thunder. She wanted Aisha, the woman who knew her favorite bedtime stories, who wiped her tears without judgment, who made the world feel less lonely. Shock rippled through the room like a cold wave crashing against warm shores. The models exchanged bewildered glances, their poise cracking into murmurs of disbelief, while Alexander's face drained of color, his mind reeling from the absurdity of it all. A maid, not just any maid, but a black woman from a background worlds apart from his own polished existence. He dismissed the models with generous compensations and apologies, his hands trembling as he ushered Lily to her room, where she curled up in confusion, sensing the storm she had unleashed. That evening, Alexander confronted Aisha in the kitchen, where she was preparing dinner, her hands steady despite the turmoil in her chest. He demanded explanations, his voice laced with frustration and a hint of desperation. How could this happen? Aisha met his gaze evenly, her brown eyes deep pools of resilience, explaining that she had only ever tried to be kind, to fill the gaps where a mother's love was absent. She spoke of her own losses, the village she left behind, the dreams deferred, and in that vulnerability, Alexander glimpsed a strength he had never possessed. But the idea gnawed at him. Society would scoff, his business associates would whisper, and what of the racial divides that still simmered beneath America's facade of progress? He sent Aisha home early that night, his mind a whirlwind of doubt, while Lily cried herself to sleep, fearing she had lost the only mother figure she truly knew. In the days that followed, tension thickened the air of the mansion like fog rolling in from the sea. Alexander tried to dismiss the incident, interviewing nannies and considering more conventional matches, but Lily's rebellion was fierce for such a small child. She refused meals, hid in closets, and drew endless pictures of Aisha with crayons, her artwork a silent plea. Alexander's nights grew sleepless, haunted by memories of Elena's final days, when she had whispered to him about finding joy again, not in wealth, but in genuine connections. Reluctantly, he invited Aisha back for a conversation, not as employer to employee, but as two souls adrift. They sat in the garden under blooming roses, the sun filtering through leaves like scattered gold, and Aisha shared more of her story, arriving in America with $50 and a prayer, working multiple jobs to send money home, facing discrimination in subtle glances and denied opportunities. She had seen Lily's loneliness mirror her own, and in caring for the girl, she found purpose amid the drudgery. Alexander listened, really listened for the first time, his defenses crumbling as he admitted his own isolation, the emptiness of his billions without love to share them. A spark ignited then, subtle at first, like embers glowing in the dark, a shared laugh over Lily's antics, a lingering glance that spoke volumes. But challenges mounted like gathering storm clouds, threatening to drown this budding possibility. Word leaked to the tabloids, perhaps from a disgruntled model or a loose-lipped staff member, and headlines screamed scandal. Billionaire's daughter picks Maid as mom, racial twist in Thorne's love life. Paparazzi swarmed the gates, flashing cameras like lightning strikes, while social media erupted in a frenzy of opinions, some praising the fairy tale twist, others hurling vitriol laced with racism and classism. Alexander's board of directors expressed concerns, fearing stock dips from the controversy, and old friends distanced themselves, their invitations drying up like forgotten rivers. Aisha bore the brunt, enduring hateful messages online, stares in the grocery store, and even a threatening letter slipped under her apartment door, reminding her of the prejudices she thought she had escaped. She considered quitting, packing her bags to return to Nigeria, where at least the judgments were familiar, but Lily's tearful pleas held her back, the child's arms wrapping around her like vines clinging to a sturdy tree. Alexander struggled too, grappling with his ingrained biases, the whispers of his upbringing that questioned if a woman like Aisha could fit into his world of galas and private jets. He withdrew at times, burying himself in work, leaving Aisha to navigate the chaos alone, her heart aching with the fear that she was merely a temporary bandage on a deeper wound. Yet, amid the turmoil, glimmers of change began to emerge, slow and tentative like dawn breaking over a restless ocean. Alexander started small, inviting Aisha to family dinners not as help, but as a guest, where they shared stories over candlelit meals, Lily beaming between them like a bridge connecting two distant shores. He learned about Nigerian cuisine, surprising Aisha with ingredients for jollof rice, his attempts at cooking comical yet endearing, filling the kitchen with laughter that echoed through empty halls. Aisha, in turn, opened up about her aspirations, enrolling in night classes for teaching certification with Alexander's quiet support, his resources easing the path she had long deemed impossible. Their conversations deepened, revealing shared values, kindness over cruelty, perseverance through pain, and Alexander found himself drawn to Aisha's unyielding spirit, her beauty not in superficial gloss, but in the scars of survival that made her radiant. Lily flourished in this evolving dynamic, her drawings shifting from solitary figures to happy trios, her nightmares fading as Aisha's lullabies became a nightly ritual once more. But suspense built as external pressures intensified. A rival businessman, jealous of Alexander's success, fueled rumors to undermine his empire, while Aisha's family back home voiced concerns about cultural clashes, urging her to protect her heart from inevitable heartbreak. The turning point came during a fierce winter storm that blanketed the city in snow, isolating the mansion like a fortress under siege. Power outages plunged them into darkness, forcing reliance on candlelight and each other. Huddled by the fireplace, with Lily asleep in Aisha's lap, Alexander confessed his fears, the terror of loving again only to lose, the shame of his initial blindness to Aisha's worth. She responded with her own vulnerabilities, the loneliness of being seen as the help, rather than a whole person, the ache of unfulfilled dreams. In that intimate glow, barriers dissolved, and they shared a tentative kiss, soft as falling snow, marking the shift from obligation to genuine affection. But the storm outside mirrored the one brewing. The next day, a lawsuit emerged from one of the models, claiming emotional distress and breach of promise, amplified by media frenzy that painted Aisha as an opportunist. Alexander faced a choice: defend this unconventional love or retreat to safety. He chose to fight, holding a press conference where he spoke not as a tycoon, but as a father and a man reborn, declaring that true family transcended appearances and origins, his voice cracking with emotion as he praised Aisha's role in healing their home. As months unfolded, the narrative wove toward resolution, each thread pulling tighter with emotional weight. Alexander and Aisha navigated therapy sessions together, unpacking prejudices and pains, while Lily's school projects celebrated diverse families, her pride in Aisha shining like a beacon. Public opinion shifted gradually, inspired by viral videos of the trio at charity events, where Aisha's grace outshone any model, her initiatives for immigrant education drawing acclaim. Challenges persisted. Aisha's visa renewal hit snags, forcing Alexander to leverage his influence ethically, and family gatherings revealed lingering judgments from relatives, but their bond strengthened through adversity, like steel forged in fire. Alexander proposed on a quiet evening in the garden where their first real talk had bloomed, kneeling not with a diamond the size of a star, but with a simple ring etched with Nigerian symbols, symbolizing his commitment to her world as much as his own. The wedding was intimate, under African skies during a trip to Aisha's homeland, where Lily danced with newfound aunts and uncles, the air alive with drums and joy. Back in New York, their blended family became a testament to redemption, Alexander's empire thriving not despite the scandal, but because of the authenticity it revealed. In the end, as the mansion filled with laughter and love, Alexander reflected on how a child's innocent choice had dismantled his illusions, teaching him that wealth meant nothing without heart, and that true beauty lay in kindness's quiet power. Aisha, now pursuing her teaching dreams while mothering Lily with effortless grace, found the home she had always sought, her second chance blooming brighter than imagined. Lily grew up surrounded by love's diverse tapestry, her story a whisper of hope in a divided world. If this story has touched your heart and reminded you of the transformative power of love and kindness, please like, comment below with your favorite part, share it far and wide, and subscribe to Kindness Speaks for more tales that inspire and move us all. Before we wrap up, I'd love for you to comment, kindness always wins, if you agree that compassion can change everything.